Posting a simple selfie with his Labrador, Bailey, was a routine act for Daniel, capturing a moment of their adventures together, this time amidst the serene backdrop of local hills. What Daniel expected to be just another addition to his feed quickly spiraled beyond his imagination. The internet's reaction to this particular snapshot was bewildering, with likes and shares accumulating at an unprecedented pace. But it was a specific comment that caught his eye, urging him to scrutinize the photo more closely. When Daniel returned from his hike with his trusted four-legged friend, he thought of posting a nice, heartwarming picture to help him remember his nice and tranquil day. He scrolled through the few photos he had made and picked his favorite before posting it. At that moment, he had no idea that in the morning, his photo would have gone viral. Daniel wasn't really a phone person to begin with, as he appreciated quality time with his loved ones more than he did with spending time on his phone or the internet. It had been why he was so confused by the thousands of messages he had gotten when he opened his phone in the morning. He now noticed that he had even missed a few calls. The calls he had received were at least of numbers he recognized, but the Instagram messages were mostly of people he had never met before. "What is going on?" Daniel wondered aloud as his brow creased with worry. He had thought to post the photo online for his future self and a few of his friends to enjoy. He could never have expected this. He decided to open his social media and started to look through the comments. The first ones he noticed were those of his friends. "Cute picture, Dan," one said, written by his friend Stacy. Another said, "Seems like a cool hike, good job." However, Daniel started to read the other comments, which made him take a second look at the picture he had taken. One of the most liked comments that was in his comment section was, "You can see it in the bushes," which made Daniel frown. What had they spotted in the bushes? What had caused such an uproar on his social media profile? He still didn't quite understand it, but as he looked at the place the commenter had indicated, he now saw it too. How could he have missed it before? He immediately went to his camera roll to study the other photos, but this photo was the only one showing it clearly. He had been lucky to have picked this exact one to post. Otherwise, no one would have ever seen this. He knew now couldn't just stay home. It was time for another walk. He could try and spot it again, but this time with his eye instead of the camera. Daniel whistled, and as he had done so, he could hear Bailey coming toward him hurriedly. Bailey knew exactly when it was time for their walk, but if Daniel diverted from the routine they had built, a whistle would be enough. Bailey walked in with his leash in his mouth, tail wagging as he was excited to go on another walk. Bailey had no clue that this time around. It wasn't just some fun trip. "Come, let's go, Bailey," Daniel said as he opened his front door. He decided to put his phone on silent before slipping it into his pocket. He wanted to find out everything for himself first before he would talk to others. Maybe it had been a trick of the light or something else. At the very least, he didn't want to worry anyone. Bailey was in the passenger seat when he drove back to the parking lot at the foot of the hills. He parked his car, seeing that the trail hadn't been flooded by people yet. Maybe people didn't know where the photo had been taken, but that would give him a moment to find it out himself. He didn't want to concern anyone like the police before having solid proof. He hiked back up the trail he had taken only the day before. Having been here quite a few times, Bailey happily took the lead as she guided Daniel on the path. This time, however, Daniel wasn't there for his enjoyment or relaxation. No, this time he was meant to be vigilant, hoping to set his eyes on what he had captured on camera only 16 hours before. Daniel reaches the exact spot where the viral photo was taken, the early morning sun casting long shadows on the ground. He feels a mix of excitement and unease, the quiet of the trail amplifying his every step. Bailey, sensing Daniel's change in mood, stays close, her senses alert to their surroundings. The air is cool and crisp, a stark contrast to the unease growing in Daniel's heart as he anticipates the search ahead. He takes out his phone, opening the photo that started it all. Daniel studies it closely, comparing his current view with the captured image. The tranquility of the scene before him stands in stark contrast to the eerie detail that caught the internet's attention. He zooms in, trying to capture the same angle, his mind racing with possibilities of what was missed the first time. Despite his efforts, Daniel finds that the unsettling element visible in the photo is conspicuously absent in reality. He squints, moving the phone closer, then farther away, hoping to catch a glimpse of that same anomaly. It's nowhere to be seen, increasing his bewilderment. The discrepancy between the image and reality only deepens the mystery, urging him to look even closer. Determined, Daniel starts searching the area, Bailey by his side. He uses the landmarks visible in the image as guides, moving through the brush with a purpose. Every rustle in the leaves, every snap of a twig underfoot heightens his anticipation of what he might discover. The forest seems to hold its breath, the silence punctuated by their movements as they delve deeper into the mystery. As the search continues, Daniel's initial curiosity turns into concern. What if the photo revealed something dangerous? Each step further into the search brings a mix of hope and anxiety. Bailey seems to sense this too, her pace steady, her gaze wandering into the dense underbrush as if trying to uncover the mystery themselves. The bond between them strengthens as they navigate the uncertainty together, the unknown looming larger with every passing moment. Daniel's attention was caught by a flash of blue under a bush, a stark contrast to the surrounding greenery. Intrigued, he pushed aside the leaves to investigate. What he found was out of place in the natural environment, a blue object peeking through, challenging the forest's palette. His curiosity piqued. He moved closer, the foliage whispering around him as he reached for the hidden anomaly. Gently pulling the object free, Daniel discovered it was a scarf. The fabric was soft, with a familiar pattern that immediately resonated with him. It was strikingly similar to the one seen in the viral photo, creating a tangible connection between the online frenzy and his current reality. This realization sent a ripple of apprehension through him, linking the digital anomaly directly to the physical world. As he held the scarf, the weight of the situation dawned on him. This piece of fabric transcended its simple existence. It was a clue, possibly linked to someone's distress or disappearance. The scarf, now in his hands, felt laden with significance, each thread intertwining with the urgency and gravity of the mystery he was unraveling. The discovery of the scarf prompted a moment of reflection for Daniel. It represented more than just a lost item. It was a beacon of responsibility calling him to action. Standing in the quiet of the forest, he considered his next move. The scarf, a physical manifestation of the pivotal role he now found himself in. It was a moment of transition, from observer to potential rescuer. With the gravity of the discovery weighing on him, Daniel recognized the necessity of involving the authorities. The scarf, a seemingly innocuous find, had become the catalyst for a deeper involvement. Resolved, he knew his next steps could impact the outcome of this unfolding story. It was time to act, to move beyond mere speculation, to potentially help uncover the truth behind the viral photo. With the blue scarf in his hand, Daniel's fingers hesitated momentarily over his phone before he dialed the police. His voice, when he spoke, was steady but underscored with a clear sense of urgency. He articulated every detail with precision, aware that the gravity of the situation rested heavily on his ability to convey the importance of his discovery. Daniel recounted the story of the viral photo and how a routine hike had led to an unexpected turn of events. He described finding the scarf, its striking resemblance to the one in the photo, and his growing concern for the safety of the girl who might have been there. His words painted a vivid picture, bridging the gap between an online anomaly and a potential real-world implication. The initial skepticism from the police dispatcher faded as Daniel mentioned the scarf. The tangibility of the clue seemed to pivot the conversation, sparking a genuine interest. Questions became more focused, the tone shifted to one of increased concern, and the realization that this call might be the first step in unraveling a larger story became apparent. Instructions came for Daniel to stay put, to not disturb the scene any further until investigators arrived. The weight of these directions settled on him with a mix of relief and anticipation. It was a confirmation of the seriousness with which his call was being taken, yet it also meant waiting in a limbo of uncertainty, The quiet forest around him suddenly a backdrop to a waiting game. As Daniel hung up the phone, Bailey's behavior changed markedly. The dog became visibly restless, pacing and whining, sensing something unseen and unknown to Daniel. This uncharacteristic anxiety from Bailey added an additional layer of urgency to the situation, hinting at unseen tensions and perhaps unseen dangers lurking just beyond the reach of human senses. As Daniel waited for the police, the silence of the forest seemed to amplify Bailey's growing restlessness. The tension in the air was palpable, a stark contrast to the usual tranquility of their hiking spot. Daniel tried to remain calm, but the unease radiating from Bailey was infectious, making the minutes into what felt like hours under the watchful eyes of the woods. Bailey's behavior escalated from restlessness to action, pulling at his leash with a sense of urgency that Daniel couldn't ignore. The dog's instincts seemed to be in overdrive, directing Daniel's attention away from the waiting game and toward the dense underbrush. Bailey was adamant. His body language speaks volumes, urging Daniel to follow leads only he could sense. Daniel stood at a crossroads, torn between following police instructions to stay put and trusting Bailey's instinctual pull toward the unknown. The decision weighed heavily on him, the responsibility of the moment pressing down. To stay could mean missing a crucial opportunity. To go, defying the very advice meant to preserve the integrity of potential evidence. After moments of indecision, Daniel's trust in Bailey's uncanny instincts overrode his initial hesitation. He made a quick call to the police, explaining his decision to follow his dog into the forest, emphasizing Bailey's unusual behavior as the catalyst. With the call made, Daniel felt a resolve settle over him, a commitment to the path Bailey was determined to take. With Bailey leading, they ventured beyond the designated spot, stepping into the unknown. Each step took them further from the trail and deeper into the woods, where the light dimmed and the underbrush thickened. Daniel's senses were heightened, aware of the shift in their surroundings as they moved away from the familiar into uncharted territory, guided by Bailey's unwavering certainty. As they delve further from the beaten path, the underbrush around Daniel and Bailey becomes denser, their surroundings increasingly unfamiliar. Each step forward is met with the resistance of thick foliage, the forest closing in around them. The sounds of civilization fade into the background, replaced by the rustle of leaves and the occasional snap of a twig underfoot, marking their progress into the untamed wilderness. Daniel periodically pauses to send brief, hurried messages to the police, providing updates on their changing location. Each message is crafted with care, aiming to keep the authorities informed without losing the precious momentum they've built. His phone, usually a mere accessory on their hikes, now serves as a crucial lifeline, bridging the gap between the solitude of the woods and the watchful eyes of the world beyond. In a moment of foresight, Daniel shares his live location with a trusted friend, adding an extra layer of security to their expedition. This act of caution, born from a blend of instinct and intelligence, ensures that someone else knows exactly where they are, providing a silent guardian watching over their journey from afar, ready to act should the need arise. With each step deeper into the woods, the sense of isolation grows, wrapping around Daniel like a thick fog. The familiar comfort of the forest is replaced by a creeping unease, the silence punctuated by the distant call of a bird or the rustle of an unseen animal. This growing anxiety is a constant companion, reminding him of the unknown that lies ahead, yet urging him forward into the depths of the unknown. Despite the swirling apprehension, Daniel's trust in Bailey remains unshaken. The dog moves with a purpose, his instincts guiding them through the thicket with certainty that Daniel finds both remarkable and reassuring. This trust in Bailey's guidance, a beacon of hope in the enveloping uncertainty, bolsters Daniel's resolve, reminding him that their journey is not without direction, guided by the unspoken bond between them. The path ahead grows increasingly treacherous, with each step highlighting the stark departure from the familiar trails they once knew. Overgrown roots and tangled vines create a labyrinth of natural obstacles, emphasizing their isolation in this untouched part of the forest. This shift from known to unknown terrain marks a clear line between the safety of the marked paths and the untamed wilderness they now navigate. With every step deeper into the woods, the mystery that led them here seems to grow, enveloping Daniel and Bailey in a cloak of intrigue and determination. The further they move away from the trail, the stronger their resolve becomes, fueled by the unanswered questions that linger in the air like the dense fog that occasionally drifts through the trees, adding layers to the mystery they are determined to unravel. Daniel's messages to the police, sent in moments snatched between navigating the underbrush, offer glimpses into their deepening journey. These hurried communications, concise yet filled with urgency, serve to bridge the widening gap between them and the outside world. Each message is a breadcrumb trail of their progress, painting a picture of their determination to forge ahead despite the growing challenges. The act of sharing his live location with a friend underscores the importance of safety in the uncertain venture they've undertaken. This precautionary measure, a blend of wisdom and concern, ensures a tether to the known world, providing a sense of security amidst the enveloping unknown. It's a silent acknowledgement of the risks involved and a strategic step to safeguard their well-being as they delve further into the unknown. In the absence of familiar landmarks, Bailey's instincts become the beacon guiding Daniel through the dense woodland. Trusting in the dog's natural ability to navigate the uncertain terrain, Daniel follows, allowing Bailey's keen senses to lead the way. This reliance on instinctual guidance, a testament to their bond, lights their path deeper into the forest, where the mysteries they seek to uncover lie hidden. As doubt begins to cloud Daniel's mind, a sudden break in the monotony of the forest catches his eye. Among the dense thicket, an anomaly stands out, a stark contrast to the endless sea of green. The sight ignites a flicker of hope within him, piercing the growing shadow of uncertainty with the possibility of a clue just beyond the next bend. Emerging from the thicket, Daniel is met with the sight of a crudely hidden cabin, its presence a jarring anomaly in the natural landscape. The discovery stirs a whirlwind of emotions, hope mingling with a creeping sense of fear. The cabin, both a potential haven and a harbinger of unknown dangers, stands as a testament to the hidden depths of the woods. With each step toward the cabin, the forest's ambient sounds seem to fade into an oppressive silence, amplifying Daniel's unease. The air grows thick, each breath heavier than the last, as if the very atmosphere is bracing for what lies ahead. The anticipation builds, the silence not just a lack of sound, but a presence in itself, weighing heavily on Daniel's shoulders. Approaching the cabin, Bailey's demeanor shifts dramatically. Once leading the way, he now hesitates, his behavior underscoring the cabin's significance. His acute reaction, a mix of caution and alertness, serves as a silent alarm to Daniel. This change in Bailey, more than anything else so far, marks the cabin as not just a place of interest, but potentially of great importance. Standing before the cabin, Daniel wrestles with the decision to enter. The threshold represents more than just a physical barrier. It's a gateway to the unknown, a step that could change the course of their investigation. The decision weighs heavily on him, a moment of hesitation filled with the gravity of what crossing that doorway might mean for both him and the mystery unfolding before them. Faced with the daunting decision at the cabin's doorstep, Daniel hastily composes a message to his friend James, seeking counsel in the face of uncertainty. His text outlines the situation briefly, but with enough detail to convey the gravity of the moment. Daniel stands in the quiet of the forest, phone in hand, waiting for a response that might light his way through the murky decision ahead. James replies quickly, his message laced with concern and a strong note of caution. He advises Daniel to wait for the police, emphasizing the importance of safety over haste. "Don't rush into unknown dangers," he texts, reminding Daniel that the unfolding situation is larger and potentially more perilous than a simple act of curiosity can justify. The advice is clear. Patience is a virtue, especially in uncertain times. Despite James's earnest advice, Bailey's growing desperation and restlessness become a compelling force, urging Daniel to reconsider. The dog's behavior, a mix of anxiety and urgency, seems to pull Daniel towards action, making the choice to wait increasingly difficult. The silent plea in Bailey's demeanor speaks volumes, challenging Daniel's resolve to follow his friend's cautionary counsel. As they make their way closer to the cabin, the silence of the forest grows even more profound, each step amplifying the quiet until it feels like a tangible presence. This hush, so deep and encompassing, seems to mark the threshold to answers that lie ahead, casting an aura of anticipation and foreboding over the final steps to the cabin door. It's a silence that promises revelations, yet hides the cost. Overwhelmed by a tumult of emotions and driven by an insatiable need for answers, Daniel resolves to explore the cabin. This decision, forged in the crucible of fear, hope, and the undeniable pull of the unknown, propels him forward. With a deep breath, he steps over the threshold, leaving behind the advice of caution for the promise of uncovering the truth that lies within the silent walls. Approaching the cabin, Daniel wipes away years of grime from a small window, peering inside. The interior is bathed in shadows, void of life, but filled with the promise of untold stories. Each piece of furniture, each abandoned item, seems to whisper of secrets waiting to be discovered. The air inside, visible through the glass, seems heavy with anticipation, as if the cabin itself is holding its breath. Bailey, undistracted by the quiet mystery of the cabin's interior, fixates on a seemingly ordinary bookcase. His barking, insistent and focused, suggests he's found something Daniel has overlooked. Trusting in Bailey's acute senses, Daniel turns his attention to the bookcase, pondering the possibility of hidden secrets within its wooden frame. Bailey's behavior indicates this is no ordinary piece of furniture, but a gateway to deeper revelations. Guided by Bailey's unerring instincts, Daniel examines the bookcase closer, discovering a mechanism cleverly disguised within its structure. With a mixture of apprehension and resolve, he activates it, revealing a concealed room. The hidden space, carved out of the cabin's very essence, hints at a purpose far removed from the mundane, a secret compartment designed to remain undiscovered, holding truths that were meant to stay buried. Stepping into the secret room, the cabin's true purpose unfolds before Daniel, a chilling revelation that sends a shiver down his spine. The room, meticulously organized yet stark in its functionality, tells a story of careful planning and hidden agendas. Each item, each piece of evidence, weaves a narrative of secrecy and intent, casting the cabin in a new, ominous light, far from the benign shelter it appeared to be. Daniel takes a moment at the threshold of the concealed room, steeling himself for what lies ahead. The decision to step inside is heavy with the weight of impending revelations. With a deep breath, he crosses into the room, his senses heightened, ready to confront the truths hidden within its walls. The silence that greets him is a stark contrast to the tumult of emotions raging inside him as he prepares to face whatever the room holds. In the dim light of the concealed room, Daniel's gaze meets that of the girl from the photo. Her eyes, wide with a mix of fear and relief, tell the story of her harrowing ordeal. The sight of him, an unexpected rescuer, brings a glimmer of hope amidst the darkness. She trembles, not just from the chill in the air, but from the uncertainty of what comes next. With cautious words, the girl begins to recount her story, her voice a whisper in the quiet room. She speaks of her abduction, the confusion and fear that ensued, and a brief moment of escape that led her here. Her narrative, punctuated by pauses and deep breaths, reveals the calculated motive behind her capture, painting a vivid picture of the events that unfolded before Daniel's unexpected arrival. The mention of a ransom casts a new light on the gravity of her situation, underscoring the perilous reality of her capture. The girl explains how her abductors had planned to use her as leverage, a pawn in a larger game of extortion. This revelation, stark and unvarnished, lays bare the chilling severity of her ordeal, highlighting the stakes involved in her unexpected rescue. In the shared silence that follows her story, a bond of trust begins to form between Daniel and the girl. It's a connection forged in the crucible of their shared experience, an unspoken understanding that transcends their brief acquaintance. Despite the fear that shadows their interaction, this newfound trust becomes a beacon of hope, a promise of solidarity against the challenges that lie ahead. With the weight of her story hanging in the air, they acknowledge that the danger is far from over. Together, they begin to prepare for the journey back, knowing that each step towards the safety of the outside world is also a step towards confronting the reality of her abduction. Their movements are swift, driven by the urgency of their situation as they ready themselves to leave the cabin and seek the authorities, ready to face whatever comes next. With the weight of their discovery pressing upon them, Daniel and the girl hasten their steps back to the trail, propelled by a shared sense of urgency. The forest, once a place of leisurely exploration, now feels like a maze they must navigate with haste. Their pace quickens, driven by the singular goal of finding help, each step echoing their desperate bid for safety and the hope of rescue. Emerging onto the trail, they're met with the sight of police officers surrounding a suspect, a scene that brings a complex wave of relief. This moment, charged with tension, marks the beginning of the end of their ordeal. The sight of the police, symbols of safety and order, provides a stark contrast to the chaos and danger of the woods behind them, offering a tangible sign that their nightmare might soon be over. The girl's steady voice breaks the silence as she identifies her abductor, her words turning their chaotic morning into a pivotal piece of evidence. This act of bravery, under the watchful eyes of law enforcement, solidifies the case against the suspect. Her identification links the suspect to the crime scene, transforming her story from one of victimhood to a key narrative in the pursuit of justice. As officers restrain the suspect, the events of the day converge into a clear narrative of rescue and impending justice. This moment, emblematic of the law's reach and the end of the girl's captivity, marks a turning point. The collective efforts of Daniel, the girl, and the police fuse into a powerful testament to determination and resilience, underscoring the triumph of good in the face of adversity. The saga concludes, leaving Daniel and the girl standing at the threshold of a new beginning, forever altered by their shared journey. The ordeal, while harrowing, has revealed the depths of human courage and the unbreakable spirit of those thrust into the unimaginable. Their story, a testament to resilience and the power of unity, echoes long after the forest falls silent, a lasting reminder of the indomitable human will to overcome.
If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider sharing it with someone who may find it interesting. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.